Hey y'all, what's good? What's good? As we are here for another segment of Thursday Thoughts, I am happy to be here. Better late than never, y'all. Better late than never. Y'all know how I feel about the beautiful warm weather. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm just putting my phone on Do Not Disturb so that none of my children's call. So listen, this Thursday Thoughts is Random Thursday. Y'all know every now and then I come up with like random Thursdays. And this is just really talking about like whatever's on my mind at the time and what's ever on your mind today. So it's Thursday, and I am so grateful for a beautiful day and for progress. So I'm very, very, very thankful for progress, right? Because oftentimes when we want to accomplish our goals, it's like building that repetition or having the dedication and the commitment to stay the course, right? And so I'm really excited about that, uh, seeing progress. And today I was speaking with one of my clients, and we were kind of talking about time management and how managing your time is really the key to getting things done and understanding doing what I call a time audit. Like, really pay attention to how you spending your time. Like, sit down one day, at the end of each day, kind of sit down and do it for like 3 days. Just do it for 3 days, y'all. Sit down and track how you spending your time from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. What are you doing, and how much time are you spending doing those tasks? And then ask yourself, are the things that I'm doing feeding into what I value the most, what I say I want to accomplish for myself, or how I want to live my life? Am I putting my time in on those things that are contributing to that? So that was one thing we were kind of talking about. And I know for me, time management has been critical because listen, your girl can know how to procrastinate on some stuff. So I've been minimizing the amount of time that I really put off doing stuff. So now it's just like the things that I really don't want to do, I force myself to go ahead and do those things, get those out the way now. Because I found that it's the anxiousness or even just the whole feeling, the dread even of not wanting to do a certain thing. I spend more time dreading it when I could have did it and it wouldn't even took up that much energy. How about that? How many people can relate to that of, you know, having that situation, occur? So again, just today on Thursday Thoughts, we are talking about um, just random stuff, really, y'all, just what's on my mind. So in addition to just talking about really time management and how important it is that we always keep in mind that whatever we do, are we doing things that's feeding the life we want to live or the person that we want to be? We should do something every day. And at the end of the day, when you're wrapping down, you should be able to debrief yourself and say, okay, what all did I do today that really fed into that? And for me, I'm the type of person I have to write stuff down. I'm a writer. So my week, I know what I need to accomplish because I'm writing down those things that are important. And before I make that list of the things I say that's important, at the top, I remind myself, like, this is what I want to get out of my life. And how are these things gonna, feed into that? So that's some of the stuff that I do. But what are some of the things that you all do? Like, what are some things that you do that really feed into what you want to accomplish and who you want to be? That's what I want us to kind of, think about a little bit. Like, what do we want to do and who do we want to be? And how can we get those actions and do those things that bring the most in our lives? And, you know, another thing I thought about today, because here in Michigan, the weather is beautiful. So I was just sitting outside. I was like, let me get my butt in here and hop on Thursday Thoughts. And so as I'm sitting outside and I'm looking, there was a patch of grass. There was a patch of grass, and I want to say I think it was some paint cleaner or something. Don't ask me why, y'all. But I threw some paint cleaner or something in the grass. Anyway, it had burnt the grass up, and I had these couple big patches where grass just did not grow for, I want to say, at least 2 years, right? At least 2 years. So I did something, and the grass didn't grow for at least 2 years. Now, mind you, I had these bald spots in the grass. And every time I would get the grass cut and I would look over it, and I'm like, oh, it's such an eyesore, because I had these patches that would not grow because of something that I did. And then lo and behold, this year, I noticed the grass grew back. It's greener, it's fuller, it's better than all the rest of the grass. And I thought to myself, sometimes you have to tear down what's currently in your life and rebuild. And sometimes it's not by choice. Sometimes we have to rebuild and we're not ready to rebuild. But when you rebuild, it can be better than what it was before you had to do it and start all over again. So that's how I looked at that grass. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Because I was for sure, it 2 years and it was like not coming back. It was looking terrible. So what are some things when you think about that? Like, have there ever been instances in your life, or are you going through something right now where you feel like, I got to start over? I got to start over. Maybe it's your kids maybe you're about to be an empty nester, right? And the kids are going to be leaving the house. I got to start over. Or maybe you're preparing for retirement and you're like, what am I going to do in my next chapter? I got to start over. Or maybe you're coming out of a relationship and you're like, I got to start over. So starting over, it's change. Change is challenging. Is something different, moving us out of our comfort zone, right? But change, when you look for the opportunities that the change can bring, then you can see them. But when change comes in your life and all you see is the bad, uncomfortable feeling that something that used to be is no longer, then you're blinding yourself. Like, you're literally like that, right? You're blinding yourself and you can't see the blessing that's there because you're so busy focusing and looking at what? The negativity. And when you look for negativity, you will find more negativity. But when you look for opportunity and possibility, you will find opportunity and possibility. Like, there's always a choice and there are always options. So those are just, some of the things that I was thinking of. And again, we're talking random Thursday thoughts. Today is totally random. So if you're watching this on repeat, if you are, a small business owner or something like that, I'm considering having every first Thursday of the month dedicated to interviewing a business owner. So if you're a business owner and, you have things that you want to share with the audience, I'd love to have you on. Just DM me. When you DM me, give me your contact info so I can just ask you a couple questions and make sure it's going to be a good fit for this platform. But typically, I do love to have people on just to be able to share what you're doing in the world, information about what you're offering. so that if you're offering something, whether you're a photographer, a boutique owner, a makeup artist, a stylist, a hairstylist, or a fashion stylist, right? Have you on here, um, and get to. I've met people who are they own bartending services. I've met so many fabulous people that I want to just open it up and say, listen, just DM me and let's work and I'll get you on here so, you can share your gifts on this platform with me. The next thing I want to talk about now. So we talked about time management, right? Talked about that. And we also talked about starting over with change, right? Again, random Thursday thoughts, starting over with change. And next topic that I was just thinking about is um, God is always on time. God is always on time. And He's got you. I can remember when I want to say I was probably 5 years old. 5 years old. Not more than 7 for sure. And me and my older sister, we were in West Virginia because that's where my grandma lives. And so my grandma lived in the mountains of West Virginia. And for those of you who are familiar or those who are not, West Virginia has a bunch of mountains, right? A bunch of mountains. And so my grandmother her house was like in the middle of a mountain. Like this is the top of the mountain up here, and her house was like here. Anywho, you had to take like 99 steps to go up to her house, and she had the only house up in this mountain, right? So her house backed up. The back of her house was the back of the mountain, right there. And so I can remember my grandma used to always say, y'all stay in the yard, don't go up in the mountains because it's dangerous. My older sister, she was very adventurous. Very adventurous. And so we had a dog. My grandma had a dog called Watch. Now, Watch was part collie, and she was part either German Shepherd, I think part German Shepherd and part collie. And so she was a very protective dog, good dog. And so my sister was like, okay, she's going to take a stick. My sister had this stick. She was like, well, let's just walk up in the mountains. And so we start going up the mountains. As we go up the mountains, we turn back around. I can remember looking back and I could still see my grandma, the top of my grandma's house I could see now. And my sister said, well, come on. And the dog was with us. So we're walking. And I remember just looking at, how beautiful like the leaves were. And it was just all green everywhere. And as we walked, we saw these huge frogs. They had frogs that they looked like they were like this big to me. They were just massive frogs. And so we're still walking, and we had the dog with us. And then we come up to a place where we're surrounded by wild dogs. I'm not even exaggerating. It had to be at least 4 to 5 wild dogs, a gang of dogs. And all we had was our one dog. And my sister had that stick. And when I tell you, I do not know what our dog Watch told them, but when I tell you they left. And I was just like, oh God, thank God. We were terrified. Could you imagine 2 little city girls in the mountains with their dog? She was pretty big dog. And those other wild dogs coming, like, and they were like growling and like, but apparently she showed more teeth and was much more aggressive. So the dogs leave. So now I turn back. Now we can't even see my grandmother's house now. So my sister's like, okay, well, we just gonna keep going up here. And I'm like, okay, because I'm just tugging along because that's what I'm with my big sister. Now we get to the point where there is like a trail that's you turn, and now it's going up even more, but it's really steep, and I can see some water kind of trickling down. And when I look over, there's a dip, a valley, but on the other side of the valley is the other mountain, and then there's this little white house. Something that, thinking back now, totally could have been a horror movie, right? Needless to say, we wasn't them kids that's about to let's go to the vacant little house that's sitting over there that was clearly abandoned. We didn't do that. But now apparently I must have started whining or something. I'm like, I want to go home or something. And we turn around. Well, now we're lost. Because Goofball, my sister, we done walked and walked and walked and made so many turns. We don't know where we are, mind you. But we still have the dog. So now we're lost. And we had been gone. I want to say my grandma, when we got back to the house, I'll tell you how we got back to the house. But my grandma had said we had been gone a good 5 to 6 hours, y'all. Now, at this point, the dog gets in front of us. So now we just like following the dog because clearly we don't know where we're going. So now we're following the dog. And when I tell you, we came out of the mountains like in town. And my grandmother lived approximately maybe 2 miles from town. We had walked all along the backside of the mountains, apparently, and come up and down through town. And when I tell you, we walked back, once we made it out to town, we knew where we were. And then we just came back up to my grandma's house. When I tell you we got back to the grandma's house, we were covered in blackberries and blueberries because they were like blackberry bushes. I mean, not blueberry, blackberry bushes that we were going through. And we were just literally covered in blackberry juice. We stained my grandma's tub, something awful. It was just stained. And so my grandma and my mom, everybody was just so worried about us. But the dog got us back. And, that was God guiding us. And I look at that now, and I'm like, God has never failed me. We were literally in the wilderness and did not know how we were going to get back. We were lost. We didn't have any direction when we were there. But God, I get so thankful and grateful because we could have easily been killed out there. I mean, they have poisonous rattlesnakes in West Virginia, wild animals, what have you. Anything could happen. But God, He blessed us. And that's how it is sometimes in life when we are here. Sometimes in life, you just feel lost. And that's when you have to trust God. That's when you have to kind of stop and center yourself and ask for direction. Because sometimes we out here navigating, right? And we're going by our own compass. But if we don't set a destination of where we want to be, and we're not in touch with ourselves to find out, what does God have in store for me? We're so busy placing our values externally and using other people's compasses to guide us instead of using our own. So in that, I say, if you are feeling lost, if you are feeling like, gosh, I got to start over, I don't know where to start, or if you are just at a point with yourself where you are in life and you're like, you know what, I'm feeling unfulfilled, stop and just really pray for clarity and really start thinking about asking yourself, what is it that I want? And when changes come, changes, I'm going to tell you, change can be scary. I'm the first one that can say that. But I've learned because there's this book called The Change Enthusiast. I do want to show y'all that book. It's here somewhere. If I find it on my shelf, it's The Change Enthusiast. And the author is Cassandra, what's your last name? Cassandra Worthy, I want to say is the author. It's a great book. And so, hey, Guinevere, thanks for joining. And so, it's just a great book to help you adapt to change. And, she says it's like 3 phases of change. The first phase is acknowledging your emotion as you go through the change. Like, oh my gosh, I feel uncomfortable, or I feel scared, or I feel, or I'm angry, I'm upset, right? There's a whole slew of emotions that can come when we're feeling or the onset of change, right? And then there is the phase of where you're like, okay, what are the possible opportunities that could be there? What are the possible opportunities? So you go from the red light, which is, oh my gosh, I'm in my emotion, I'm scared, upset, angry, you have it. And then you move to the yellow light, which is, okay, let's look at the opportunities, right? Let's take the emotion piece out of it and let's see, okay, what are some of the opportunities that's presenting itself? What are some of the possibilities that is presenting itself? And then the third part, which is the green part, is when your mind and your heart is thinking, you know what, this is going to work out. And you may not know right away, like the how it's going to work out. But when you like, you know what, this is going to work out. This is going to work out for me. 9 times out of 10, it will definitely work out for you. It will. And so I thought in her book, Change Enthusiast, it's either Change Enthusiast or Change Enthusiasm, but it's by Cassandra Worthy. It's a really, really, really good book. But she talks about those 3 phases in the book. And she did put me in the book. But that's not why it's a good book. It's just a good book, right? So I was one of the case studies, but it is a good book. Check it out on Amazon. And so that's what, so those are just some of the thoughts. Again, y'all, it's Random Thursday Thoughts. So what's on your mind? What's a topic that's on your mind that you've been thinking about? Let's see. In closing, because it's almost time, y'all, I just really want to say that it's really a beautiful world out there. It's a beautiful life. And we have to be intentional with creating the life that we want. And I heard this phenomenal leader said something about when you have to make a choice in your life. And I'm going to share. Her name is Heidi Matheson. Phenomenal leader. She's a CIO of, I think the name of the company is Cabinet Works. You can follow her on LinkedIn. She's a phenomenal woman. Anywho, so she said there's 3 things to consider when you need to make a change in your life. She said it is right person, right place, and right time. So let's say, for example, there's someone I am working with, a gentleman that I work with, that I'm coaching. And so he has young children. And so his schedule is really hectic, right? But he can only, in his current job, he works Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. And when he works Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he has Monday through Thursday off. I'm sorry. He works Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He works 2 double shifts on Saturday and double on Sunday. So he has Monday through Thursday off. Now, he was like saying how, he really wants to get new skills. He want to upskill himself because he want to move in a different direction for his career. And then he said, but he appreciates his schedule right now because his children are 13 and 11. And he says, their schedules are really hectic. So the schedule that he has right now gives him a great opportunity to really be there for his kids, right? And so we talked. And as we talked, I asked him, well, right now, what do you value most right now? And he was like, being there for my kids. I said, okay, so let's look at right person, right place, right time. So he says, I am the right person. I'm ready to look for another job, and I know I can find something else. I'm ready. Right place. He said, I know a couple spots I could possibly apply for. But he said that the other positions, they have the traditional hours of Monday through Friday. And he said, because his children really need him more and he needs to be there for his children more now, it's not the right time. So then we said, okay, so we know it's not the right time for you to, you know, plan to necessarily move on. So now it's okay. That's a good thing because now you know you're doing what's most important to you. You're aligning to your values. Okay. The next thing we talked about was we began to discuss, okay, um, what are some other things that you want to do? Well, one of his career aspirations is, he wants to get some certifications. I was like, that's a fantastic idea. And he said, you know what? Now will be a good time for me to get those certifications because I have the time Monday through Thursday to really study. Thought, that's right. That is good. So he really felt fulfilled because he knew that right now in his life, when you talk about right person, right place, right time, it wasn't the right time for him to make a career move that would change and alter his schedule. But it was the right time and opportunity for him to upskill himself and start enrolling in classes so he can get the certifications that he wants. So when it is the right time, everything will line up. So sometimes when we have to make those decisions, we have to wait. Right person, right place, right time. And as a leader, sometimes when it comes to the people that report to you, you have to look at if you're trying to fill a position, is that the right person? Is this the right role? And is it the right time? So I thought those three things that she shared was very good. And so when you have to make decisions, you have to start thinking to yourself. If I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I might want a job, but am I the right person for the job? Meaning, am I ready? If I'm ready, I'm like, okay, then it's the right place. You heard that saying, don't jump out of the skillet into the fire. So is it the right place? Meaning where you're planning on going, does that company, does that department align to your value system? Does that culture align to your value system? That's something you have to consider as well when you're making decisions, right? And then lastly, time. Is it the right time? If you're caring for an elderly person and you have a lot on your plate, is now the right time for you to take on a higher position that gives you more responsibility? If you already have a lot on your plate, right? So those are just some things. So that was my random Thursday thoughts that I wanted to share this Thursday. So I know it was random, y'all. But listen, if you're a business person and you want to come on one of the first Thursday of every month, I want to be able to share my platform and to be able to share some of the wonderful things that people are doing with their businesses. So please reach out. You can if you're on Facebook, use Messenger to reach out to me. And if you are on Instagram, send me a DM with your contact information and I can follow up with you and we can get you on here. And with that said, this is May. I think May is Mental Health Awareness. I think May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So let's remember to take care of ourselves. And also, I want to wish all of the ladies, all of the sisters and aunts a very, very happy Mother's Day early. This Sunday, Denise and I are going to be having our Mother's Day, a special edition of Sister Self Care Sunday. We'll be back at 4 p.m. on this Sunday because we do it the first and third Sunday of every month. But this Sunday is all about the mothers. So we're celebrating moms, the ones that we are blessed to still have, and the ones that we celebrate their memory. And to all the aunts who are surrogate mothers, or to women who have stepped in to be a mother figure to somebody, we salute you. We love you. We see you, sis. And God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for joining me. Good night, y'all.